Hey guys, what's up? Now Sage and I are going to be going over cross-body escape using frames. So we're going to talk about how to use our elbow frames, and then we're also going to be transferring it over to our knee frame. And keeping in mind that I'm always trying to look for longer frames. That's the goal of recovering guard. Because at the end of the day, once you get your knee inside and you're using your knee as a frame, then you've recovered the guard. So we start using our shorter ones to pass it to our longer ones. And I'll explain that more in depth right now. So from here, if you notice her cross body, if I don't have any frames, it's very difficult to escape because for sure my knee's not going to get in there. She would have to be making a big mistake to allow me to have space enough to get my knee inside if I don't have any frames up here, right? So I always try to find a way to create my frame. So we move a little bit over here. One important frame is the one that's on her hip so that she can't come towards me this way. So if I put an elbow right here and I start blocking her hip from getting closer, now at least I don't have to worry about her hip towards her feet, right? Over here, now she's trying to keep her head close to mine. If she can keep her head close to mine, she can keep me flat on my back. So if I go ahead and I create a frame over here on her neck, now it starts to become difficult for her to put pressure to flatten me out because now it would require her to push on the frame. And then something very important to understand is that if your opponent pushes on the structured frame, it allows you to create space for longer frames. So I'm getting my knee inside, and then from here I can start looking to come out, right? So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating the frames. How to create the frames, there's so many different ways, and that's kind of there's a lot of detail in all of that. But let's just start with our elbow inside, and then we're going to also create a frame over here by her neck. I'm preventing her from getting closer to me this way with this frame, right? So now if I got my back off the ground, it would be wise for her to kind of extend her arms, because if she extended her arms, I can get my back off the ground, but I can't really use any of her push to create space. So shrimping's not an option. I do notice, especially in the beginning, a lot of people, when they get their back off the ground, they immediately shrimp. But that's not a good choice, because if I started looking to shrimp to create my back, if she pushes me, she messes up my whole entire technique, right? Because when she pushes as I'm shrimping, my legs tend to turn the other way, and then she starts to feel really heavy. But if I use that foot instead as a structure to get my back off the ground, no shrimping, right? If she were to try to push me to the ground, now she's pushing on the structure, which allows me to shrimp and create enough space to pass it to an even longer frame. So if you notice my knees inside here, if she continued to push, which most likely she would, then I can start looking to get away from my knee, and then now I can start to recover guard, depending of course on what she's doing. You can create butterfly hooks in here to recover guard, right? You can take her arm, you can shrimp towards the other side to look for your bigger hooks. But as long as we're using our shorter frames to get to our longer frames and eventually recover the guard. This is the same for mounts escape, side control escape, any form of side control escape. So from this angle, we go over here. However it is that you manage to create these frames, we get her back off the ground, but remember not to shrink, right? We just face her, and then now if she tried to flatten me out, she has to push on my frames. If I react with muscle, it looks like that. If I react just by shrimping, it looks like this, which gives me space to get my knee inside. Now I can get away from my knee, and I don't need my arm for framing, so you can look for different options here. And then we can kind of work on the idea of just creating frames to recover guard.